Elzak-Zaki's imprisonment, Buhari to blame. The injustice of the directionless regime of Buhari continued to wreak havoc on the life of the populace to such an extent that a large section of the country are practically lawless wasteland under the sway of bandits and marauders. It is within this context that we wish to update the public on the continued unlawful incarceration of Sheikh Ibrahim Elzak-Zaki and his wife, both of whom are being detained by the governor of Kaduna State on trumped-up charge in the overcrowded Kaduna prison with Buhari's mandate in this period of the pandemic. It is worth noting that Buhari is the architect of the massacre in Zaria, as well as serial and often savage persecution of all those who oppose the regime's crackdown on Sheikh Elzak-Zaki's supporter. Peaceful protesters have been killed in large numbers in broad daylight, places of worship, schools, homes, and other properties have been demolished without cause. There's virtually no civil right that the regime has not violated. In the lead up to the massacre, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, spared no effort on justification propaganda to sweep the Buhari regime crime under the carpet with ease, and the Nigerian army went on a killing and wrecking spree in which no less than 1,000 people were murdered in cold blood. Sheikh Elzak-Zaki's eldest sister and dozens of other women and children were flung into a room, locked from behind, doused in fuel, and then set ablaze. These brutalities were initially wrought under the pretext of road blockage and that of assassination attempt. But in his maiden media chat, Buhari falsified the aforementioned pretext and sought to justify the carnage with his far more laughable conjecture of creating a state within a state. Of the survivors, about 200 were illicitly imprisoned and falsely charged with culpable homicide for one Corporal Den Kaduna's death. Having expended close to 5 years in prison, the case resulted in their acquittal in spite of unnecessary and deliberate delays in the legal proceeding, which overwhelmingly established that he was killed in what was termed as friendly fire. The public is aware that the 2015 massacre, Sheikh Elzak-Zaki and his wife, through their chief counsel, Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, approached the Federal High Court, Abuja, for the enforcement of their fundamental rights. On December 2, 2016, the court delivered a landmark historic judgment ordering Buhari to release the couple unconditionally. The Buhari regime ignored the order and spent the next year to come up in a way to provide legal cover for their continued detention. With the full support of the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, they brought forth concocted charges. The regime then ordered the DSS to transfer them from their detention center in Abuja to a new one in Kaduna. The cooked-up charge at Kaduna High Court centered on aiding and abetting his followers for culpable homicide, and the state judiciary had already discharged and acquitted those accused of committing the homicide. Thus, the arraignment and detention of the two is nothing but the latest in the manifestation of Buhari's regime commitment to rule with impunity, to disregard the rule of law, to impose the whim of Buhari and his inner circle, and to protect their personal interests at all costs, and to quash all opposition by any means necessary. The legal counsel of Sheikh Elzak-Zaki and his wife, Madam Azina, have since taken all the necessary legal steps to bring this new series of trumped-up charges to an end. Yet, for the past few months, the Kaduna State Government prosecutor seemed to have been instructed to play the familiar game of delay tactics to prolong the case indefinitely. This is clearly an attempt to maintain the legal cover for Buhari and his regime's intent to hold the two in prison. All requests by their legal team to secure a date for their continuation of the court proceeding have come to no avail, without any regard for their fragile and deteriorating health as they languish in the overcrowded Kaduna prison. The Sheikh has been suffering from obstructed blood flow to the heart, which poses a serious risk of heart attack, nerve root compression, severe visual impairment in his remaining right eye, and progressive open-angle glaucoma, and progressive macular atrophy, and other issues that can inevitably lead to permanent blindness. There is also extremely high concentration of lead and cadmium in his blood, among other things. His wife suffers from severe arthritis in her knee joints, which her doctor have said can only be treated with knee replacement surgery since at least 2 years ago. She also has loose fragments of bullet pieces in her abdominal area, which causes a large number of episodes of periodic life-threatening complications with her vital organs. The wheelchair-bound mother of 9 is also hypertensive. Even one of the ailments suffered by either of them constitutes a very serious medical emergency, let alone a combination of all of them. It should also be noted that the Sheikh had already suffered 2 strokes in as many years while in detention. Both Sheikh Elzak-Zaki and his wife need urgent and critical intervention to salvage their health. Although it is glaringly obvious that Buhari, not El-Rufai, is behind the detention of Sheikh Elzak-Zaki, yet the assorted role of other accomplices cannot be allowed to escape attention and scrutiny. And my name is Miftah Zakaria. I am the Southwest coordinator of the supporters of Malam Elzak-Zaki. You should realize that the intention of the government in continuing to incarcerate Malam is to incite us to violence, so that they can now justify the violence that they have used on us beforehand. What they keep saying is that we are terrorists, that we are a people that are intentionally trying to create problems in the country. And yet our body language and our action has proven beyond all reasonable doubt that we are not terrorists, that we are law-abiding citizens. If for the last 5 years they have continued to incarcerate Malam, and we have gone to court, and a court order, a high court in Nigeria has said that Malam should be released, and they continue to disobey the court order, then we are not the criminals. They are the ones that are practicing criminality. What we had expected is that Nigerians should come out openly and speak out against this injustice. And the danger is this: the longer that Nigerians continue to remain silent, the cheaper the blood of Nigerians become. I was listening to news yesterday. They said they killed 11 people in Zamfara. The other day they killed 22. The thing has become like the scorecard of a basketball. Every day we're just counting figures. People are just dying by their hundreds. So you gentlemen of the press should speak out to the government. We have continued to do the same thing because we will not take up arms to fight the Nigerian government. This is not because we do not have the capacity to do that. According to the Nigerian government, there are 30 million Shi'ites in Nigeria. Let me give you simple arithmetic, my brother. If 30 million Nigerians were to gather 1,000 naira each, that will be 30 billion naira. And even though the naira has been damaged by this regime, I'm still certain that 30 billion can buy weapons. But we are not terrorists and we are not interested in violence. We will continue to speak out. You are aware that when a people go to a man's house and kill 1,000 persons before they got to him and shot him, their intention is to kill him, not to keep him alive. And whenever we have struggled to make sure that he gets medical care, they keep delaying to, for example, the medical care you said he went to get in India was truncated by the government. For the sake of the records, every penny that was spent on that medical care was provided by we, the supporters of Malam. The Nigerian government did not contribute one shishi for his treatment. And yet when we went to India, they refused to allow him to see the doctor that he has paid for, and insisted that he should be treated by another doctor. Which idiot will allow a people who want him dead to choose the doctor that will treat him? So of course he had no choice but to come back home. And immediately we also made requests that another doctor in another country should treat him. We are still waiting for the Nigerian government to give him the chance to do that. The body language of everybody is that the Nigerian government is hell-bent on killing him. And if Malam Elzak-Zaki Hafizahullah is still alive today, it is not because they have not done anything possible to kill him. And these are people that do not love Nigeria. They have money abroad. So if there is any wahala, they will run abroad to go and enjoy their illicit wealth. They don't care for the future of this country. They don't care that if they kill him, there could be crisis, there could be problems. They are not concerned. That is why anybody that cares about the future of Nigeria, anybody that cares about the unity and the continual survival of this country called Nigeria, should call the government to order. They want to link Malam to the 200 people that they had arrested, saying that he aided and abetting them in killing one Dan Kaduna who was eventually discovered to have been killed by friendly fire. It is a term to mean that he was accidentally shot by fellow military men during the operation in Malam Elzak-Zaki's house. Now, if those that you want to link with Malam has already been discharged and acquitted by a court of law, how are you going to get him prosecuted when those you want to link him with, whom you claim to have committed the crime, had already been discharged and acquitted by a court of law? That is why they are doing this delay tactic. There is no reason why the Kaduna State government should hold on to Malam Elzak-Zaki. First, he has been discharged and acquitted by a court of law, and the High Court said he should be released, and the compensation of 50 million should be given to him. A compensation of 50 million should be given to his wife, and the government should build him another house in replacement for his house which they burn and destroy. So they don't have any case at all. And what is happening is impunity. If Nigeria was a country where the citizens and the judiciary and the National Assembly knew their duty, Nasir El-Rufai should be impeached for this odious thing he has said out of his mouth. And finally, please, it is not Nasir El-Rufai that is holding on to Malam Elzak-Zaki. It is the federal government of Nigeria under Buhari. And we are saying they should release him unconditionally.